Hi, everybody. Welcome to MetalNet. I have my very special guest today, Tommy Bolan of Warlock, Doro, and N.Y.C. How are you doing today, Tommy?
Doing pretty good. Hanging in there. Another day in LA, living the dream.
I hear you. All right. So I'm excited to have you on. I have a lot of questions for you about your music, your career, and all that. And I always love to start with the beginnings. So my first question for you is, how old were you when you got into music?
Wow. Let's see. Probably, let me see, make sure my cell phone's off. Started probably like around 11, 12 years old. My brother owned the stereo, so I listened to whatever he brought home and all that stuff. And then, basically he started playing like, Zeppelin, Deep Purple, Elton John, anything he had. And I just started listening to it. And then suddenly he brought home Kiss. And then I heard the Kiss record and went nuts. I actually did a fake Kiss show. I actually didn't even know how to play guitar then. I got a bunch of my friends and I cut out cardboard guitars. We went to Baskin Robbins, got the old ice cream drums and painted those empty as like a drum set. Sold tickets, sold admission, actually made money. I just came out of all dressed up out of my friend's basement, like in the backyard in Queens. You have all these backyards. And basically we charged, I think, 25 cents a ticket. And we just came out and just, jumped around to a live one. I spit food coloring because I was Gene Simmons. I didn't know nothing about guitar. So actually my guitar was cut out of cardboard as a lefty. The sad part is there is video evidence of this. And there are photos. I've been prompted by a lot of people to say, hey, post that photo of you. So I may eventually post some of the photos. But that got me into it. Then a month later, I stopped by a music studio in Jackson Heights, Queens, called Larry Downs Music Studio. And I took lessons. And I had like around 6 months, I was almost like fed up. I wasn't getting the result I wanted. I was about to throw the guitar out the window. And also I drove them nuts because I kept telling me, teach me Kiss, teach me this, that. And they were teaching me like, do-da, 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 all that bullshit, and, which is stuff you need to learn. But then they brought in my guitar teacher, Vinny, and this guy looked like Ted Nugent. He was playing all the rock shit. I'm like, whoa. So I started cloning him. And then another guy came in named Mark Newman. The other guy was Vinny Mangaluso. Both great players. And I basically just took what they taught me, made a big mess of it, put it in a blender, hit puree, and then but I used to play so much because everything was guitar. So 2.5 years later, I was asked to be a teacher at that very studio. And what a lot of people don't know also, and I've never even said this, another famous guy who's a legend used to teach there called Lenny Bro. And I remember I met him as a kid. And I remember this guy was like the master of the 7-string, all the harmonics, all that stuff. And he was good friends with the owners, Larry and Lisa. And I remember I met him once, twice, a couple of times. I remember I had my Kiss songbook. And I showed him God of Thunder. He started playing God of Thunder, showing it to me, But I'm off on another story now. But yeah, I guess I went in there. But when I first went into the music studio, the cool thing is, knew nothing about guitar. I walked in, because I had all the guitars in the window. They played Star Trek on the guitar. I was like, whoa, you can play Star Trek. And so I took lessons, and the rest is the catastrophe you have before you.
That's amazing. So you did your show. I'm so impressed that you knew to charge money, because the rest of us did really bad shows for our family and did not think to do that.
I was down. I mean,
you.
I saw it as a business from square one because I was always, always industrious that way. I mean, even later on when it's just to buy guitar equipment, I did whatever I could to get money for guitar equipment, teaching and all that. By the time I joined Warlock, I had like 40, 50 students. I was teaching out of Queens, and then my students went on to become teachers there. And I'm still friends with all these guys. And but yeah, I remember I charged admission. And we were terrible. I mean, let's call it what it was. We were just a bunch of. I was wearing my mom's boots, and I had hair down to here, and the makeup looked all right, but but it got me started, and we just hung a big white sheet behind us and painted Kiss on. I don't know what the hell we did, but it was interesting.
That's amazing. So you were definitely drawn to like this showmanship.
Yes, I guess. Well, I was always. I guess anybody who's met me knows I'm a pretty over-caffeinated, outgoing New Yorker. I talk a lot. But if I'm talking about something I believe in, then it's my pleasure to do so. Yeah. But I guess, in grammar school, I was in all the school plays, like first grade, I got like third billing, second grade, I got second billing. Third grade, I became the star of the play. Yay, and but it went so good. We did the play, we got an encore to do a third play, do that play again to raise money for the homeless. Because it was called Little Willie Careless and the Knights of Safety. Why am I saying this now? I'm doomed. I don't know. But anyway, we did it. And, and then eventually I started, I discovered the guitar because I was playing baseball and all that. And then, once I saw Kiss, and then started playing guitar, it just all clicked. And then I started gravitating towards people who were musicians. And my brother was always supportive. My parents were extremely supportive. I was very close to my parents, as I mentioned. other conversations, my mother and my parents were my biggest, my biggest supporters, no doubt.
Yeah, that's amazing. And we'll definitely talk about that story because truly of all the stories, like when you're a metalhead, you read a lot of stories and they're fun. It's like, but a lot of it's about debauchery. And I mean, that's not something I can personally relate to, but the story that actually, why don't you go ahead and tell that story now? I know we're fast forwarding a little bit, but it's such a beautiful story. And it's literally one of my favorite things I've ever heard.
The one about the equipment and all that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as I kept playing in the local neighborhood, I eventually joined a band called Armed Forces. The guitar player, Mike Mann, had this band. And some of the other guys in the band I'm still friends with and all that stuff. We put out an album, which you can still find. You actually go to YouTube, Google the album is called Let There Be Metal. And Metal Forces magazine actually called us the metal band. You've just discovered the metal band of the 80s. I mean, we were good, but, we never got off the ground for various reasons. I mean, the other guitar player, he sold stock in the band, incorporated the band. Well, anyway, I had guitar equipment. I worked in the music studio. I had good gear. I mean, best I could afford, I mean, my parents were blue collar. And what I did was we were recording at Kingdom Sound, which back then, I remember that's where, Joan Jett, Blue Oyster Cult, Zebra, they were all recording there. So I figured, well, this is, I'm about to turn 18, 17, 18 years old. I figured I got to, I need some better gear. So I wanted a Jackson. I wanted this. I wanted some other stuff. This is before I had any endorsements. Now I'm lucky. I work with a lot of companies. I'm endorsed. I get my stuff for free. But, that's a privilege, and I work hard for that honor. But I remember I needed a bunch of equipment. I said, I'm going in and, this is where my career starts, the way I'm thinking, My parents, my father's a postman. My mother's a secretary. They worked very hard. My father was getting up at dark 30, going to work. And, we weren't rich at all. I have two older brothers as well. Nobody won the lottery. And I remember I needed about like $3,000 worth of gear, I had earmarked, Jacksons were expensive then. And, I didn't have any friends like I have now at all the music stores. But I remember I asked my father, and my father's name is Patrick, mother's name is Yolanda. My father called my mother, Yolanda, Italian Irish, what are you gonna do? So the next thing I know, I'm coming down the stairs and they couldn't see me because the way my house, I had the living room, then there's a staircase coming down, so they couldn't see me coming down. I hear my mother talking to my father. And as I said, my parents are married, 43 years, sat on the couch every night, held hands. I mean, they were the epitome of harmony and what I imprinted on as far as my values as a man to of my father and relationships, etc. But anyway, my mother goes, and I'm going to do a bad imitation. My mother and my father here goes, Pat, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money, Pat. And my father goes, yo, if we don't give him a break, who's gonna? And my parents gave me the money. And I went and bought the guitars and recorded the album. And that they didn't know I heard that. And they technically still don't know I heard that. They're gone now. They passed on since. But that was, that almost getting emotional. That was a big thing. My parents going that extra mile. Because, I was, always on the straight and narrow. I wasn't, I was, staying in school and all that stuff. And they knew how committed I was to my craft, even at that age. They saw that, I remember once when it started going around in the neighborhood asking, I started playing more stuff and doing stuff. I remember my mother asking my brother, this is something I didn't even tell you. And this will sound, if you know me, this won't sound stuck up because I consider myself a pretty humble person. And my brothers, are my biggest fans as well. My mother, she doesn't know rock and roll. She just loves her son. So she asked my brother John, she goes, and she didn't know I heard this either. There's a lot of this eavesdropping going on in my house. And, well, we're Italian, Irish. What are you gonna do? And I hear my mother asking my brother, goes John. My brother's name is John. Goes John, is Tommy that good? Because I was really the local. I got fast very good. I got good very fast playing, and I was I could do what I did. And she goes John, is Tommy that good? And my brother goes, yeah, Ma, he is. And I'm like, I mean, I knew my brother loved me and all that. So, and my mother, of course, that probably influenced my mother as well in that decision, because as much as they watch me play, I mean, it sounds like, a lot of fuzz and distortion to them, She'd hear me down playing my high school band. We had a high school band before this called Vision, which actually, the guy who's on Steve Isley, but now a good friend of mine, Rob Balducci, he's one of those, Satriani type shredder guys, which is a compliment, by the way. And he was in the band. And he came in, he couldn't play nothing. Then he learned a bunch of stuff from me, and I always tease him about that. And we had a band called Vision. We played around, and we would just, my mother would hear us upstairs playing like the Cars or Kiss. He goes, oh yeah, what's that song? Let's Go, or Stratter. I go, no, it's Strutter, Mom. You know,
That's really funny.
But
That's
my
really
my
cute.
parents, they let me play in the basement and all this stuff, and we just my parents were a big reason. I always wanted to make them proud. Even after I did my first Warlock tour, my father had a whole map on the wall of all the places I went to in
Oh,
Europe and all that, and and he kept a scrapbook, because he kept a scrapbook on all the brothers from the moment we were born, all the birthday cards we got. He cut out the newsline headlines each day of the birthday. So I have these two giant books which you can flip through, which if the house burns, those are the first things I get. My guitars can burn. I got to get the books, and he has it on all the brothers. And then he had mine. Once I started doing Warlock, he has all this press. I have all this, stuff that probably nobody's seen and in a while, but collectible stuff and all that. And yeah, my father, he was they love to travel. So the fact that I was traveling, he was happy about that.
well, yeah, that must have been huge for them, just to sort of, I mean, because you had mentioned to me that family trips were huge in your childhood.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Every summer we'd get thrown in the Valiant or the Rambler, whatever the hell my dad had that year, and we'd go up and down the whole coast, for 2 weeks, and see every damn Fort McHenry, Fort Ticonderoga. I sat on more cannons, took more pictures than anything. I mean, it's crazy, but it was great. I mean, I love to travel. I love tchotchkes and knickknacks. My house is overloaded with them. Some people are minimalist. I'm a maximist.
Yeah.
I have like I'm looking over here. I got all these knickknacks and nonsense, but I like it. Makes me happy. I mean, I'm by myself here, so it's just it's entertaining to myself. I collect old vintage toys like GI Joes, Hot Wheels, and and London buses, corgi toys, and I like all that stuff. It makes me happy. But my parents instilled the idea of travel with me, and that was always a great thing to travel and spend time with the family. I was lucky.
Yeah. I had heard you tell that story like in a different interview, and it completely touched my heart. I thought that was such a beautiful thing. And just to give a little context to anybody who's maybe younger than you and I are, $3,000 is a lot of money now. It was an insane amount of money.
Yeah.
When we were younger.
Money. That was definitely a pile of cash.
Yeah.
That was a lot of money. But my parents, they worked hard for every dollar they got. I mean, they weren't, my father was a postman, I mean, mail handler to be exact,
Mm-hmm.
so, but they really believed in me, to say the least. They actually, that helped me tremendously. I mean, I bought the Jackson. It's the Jackson that you subsequently saw me play in the Warlock All We Are video.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that I have the original body of that. The neck got lost in, in the duration of time as the guitar was taken apart in this, but it actually has an ESP neck on it now, sitting at the moment. But I have the body and the neck, and I lost that guitar twice in various scenarios and got it back very luckily from a good friend of mine who is a great friend of mine now. He gave it back to me. He got hold of it somehow.
So you had mentioned that it sounded like about 2 years after you started playing, you were proficient enough that the school that you were originally probably taking lessons at had asked you to teach others. Were you that kid who was, well, it's funny because you said that you got a little frustrated at some point, and maybe it was
6 months, the guitar was just about out the window because my mind was racing faster than my hands were catching up. And then suddenly, at one point, because I was playing 6 hours a day.
Okay, that was my question.
I was playing I came home from school right to my guitar. I went right to it, So it was all music all day long. I didn't, like all the people were out, getting drunk, getting crazy. I had my fun times as a kid too, but as I mentioned to you, and I guess on a footnote, I've never done a drug in my life. I've never taken a hit of a drug. I never have. I don't condemn anybody who does party socially. The problem is when you need it so badly, you're selling your shit to get the fix. That's when you should go get help. And that's sad, because I've gotten those phone calls from people trying to sell their guitar equipment or their car collection or whatever the heck they had, and I'm like, whoa, what's the story here, But I never did. I never found a need for it. I like a good drink. I like wine. I never go on stage or anything like that because you fall down, and I already, worked myself into a full lathe on stage. If you see me, I'm bending in this position. Like this one photographer, Sean Sand, him and his girl Layla, they always say, "You're real bendy." I go, "Bendy? What? I don't know." I look back at pictures. I go, "What the hell am I doing?" I'm like freaking out because to me, when I go on stage, it's not like bang head now, do this, do that. You have a certain amount of key points where to be, so you either don't get blown up by pyro or the band comes together at the end of a song possibly. But otherwise, I just my eyes roll back in my head, and that to me is like just I launch and just it's like Superman coming out of the booth, you know. I mean, I don't even know what's going on, you know. I mean, I'm cognizant of where I am, obviously, but it's the adrenaline rush on that supersedes anything I've ever felt in my life.
Did you perform like that in Armed Forces too, or did
I
that
perform
come
like that
later?
from square one in any band.
Really?
Any
Okay.
band you've ever, if you find old videos of me, which exist, and even like my old singer of Armed Forces, Scott, he was at my show in Vegas, and I was up there going bananas. He was telling his friends, goes, you don't understand. He's moving the exact same way he did when he was 18. He's telling us, that's him. He's the same exact thing. I mean, I never changed. I don't know how to explain it. I just always been over the top and out of my mind. Even that first thing, Doro. So I remember when Doro first saw me play. I mean, the way you see me live is the way I play in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
oh really?
Oh yeah, I'm
minus the backflips.
Was that?
I said minus the backflip.
No, I knew backflip, but I will tell you, if you listen to East Meets West, here's a little Triumphant Agony trivia. There's a middle section, the first breakdown where I'm holding the note and I'm strangling the hell out of the guitar, and suddenly you hear it goes boom. Wah, does this sound? That's me. The power station is this big board, and there's these ramps that go down the side. Well, I'm on the side holding it, and the NS10 monitors are feeding back. That's how I got a lot of the feedback, because I would play in the control room. So I didn't have headphones on. I was just going fucking ballistic. And then I actually was holding the note. I fell to one knee, and I started to slide down along the side of the board, and my guitar banged on the console. And I'm sliding down as I'm going, and I'm like, oh, I just fucked this. I'm like, no, that was great. And then they kept it. But you hear my guitar go boom, you know. I mean, that album, I mean, literally, you know, even on like I Rule the Ruins, we borrowed this whole rig from John Sir, who's a very famous builder and great guy, you know, builds great guitars. And we borrowed his Bradshaw rig, which back then was a fortune. We figured, okay, the producer wanted this, you know, we rented it, you know. And John's in the studio with us. This is a Triumphant Agony story. I'm jumping everywhere now. But we rented this thing. We went to his house, and the producer was like, well, great. We need a clean sound. You press this button. You need a distorted sound. You press that button. He thought this was going to save us money because, you know, studios then $250, $300 an hour. I mean, we were recording Triumphant Agony. I think Cher and Michael Bolton were upstairs, you know.
Well, that must have been fun for them.
Yeah, they were probably hearing us scream and go crazy and all that shit, you know. But so he brought this whole thing, and he had the Van Halen amp, the Jose Arredondo, I forget how you say his name, but called the Jose amp. So we figured, well, we got the sound. That's why if you listen to I Rule the Ruins, there's a slightly different tone than the rest of the album. Because suddenly, John accidentally plugged the output of the amp into the brain of the Bradshaw system, the computer, and sent 3,000 volts and blew the system. Oh. So subsequently, I had no sustain. So I kept playing the part over and over again, and to the point, and I had this Blue Jackson that Doro had bought me, a soloist, which is dust now somewhere. And I remember playing so much and going, and there was just no sustain. I go, I'm sitting here beating out of my guitar, you know, to the point where eventually I noticed my fingers are bleeding. Mm. I mean, you know how hard you got to play when you're already got cows in your hand to make your fingers bleed. So I mean, literally, there's blood on that track. So even at the end of that solo, where if you listen, what goes, wah, that's the string broke. I broke the string off. So luckily, I managed to do some tremolo thing and kept the damn thing in tune. But I beat the hell. Then finally, they said, look, the system shot. John couldn't figure it out. He was calling Bradshaw. He was calling Jose. The thing was garbage at this point, unfortunately. I mean, great system, but garbage as in it needed to be repaired. You know what I'm saying? So we just took all my Marshalls. I had a bunch of Marshalls. We put them all up and had a sound in 5 minutes. And then the rest was done with Marshalls, you know, at that point. You know, but I don't know what question you asked, but there's an answer.
That's okay. We're good. It was a good story time. So Triumphant Agony, I think this is true for a lot of people. One of my absolute favorite albums of all time. And I see that you have a really cool guitar behind you. And I know for a fact you have another really cool, fun bit. Can you share that with us since we're talking about Triumphant Agony? That's phenomenal. Now, you were telling me something about that pedal, which really blew my mind. Now,
this is in Doro's merch. This is in Doro's merch shop right now to celebrate Triumphant Agony. Okay. Morley is a company I work with very closely. They actually they're like family to me, to be dead honest. They have a nickname for me. They call me a cop, K-O-P, King of Promotion.
Oh, nice.
So this is like a baked on finish called Color Fusion. So this is like not a decal. It was also a custom circuit that they made just for this pedal, and it's a real limited run. That's in and you can see it's at Triumphant Agony. If you look, you see the Warlock's eyes on the bottom right there.
Nice.
You know. And this is in Doro's merch shop right now. And then that's my guitar back there, one of the guitars that I play. But the version that's for sale is very similar to that, with Triumphant Agony on the front. And on the back is the gatefold. And on the sides, it says I Rule the Ruins, or I guess I should pull it down. You can see,
That's phenomenal. It is
and then
so
the other
beautiful.
side is the gatefold.
Oh, nice.
Then it says Touch of Evil, and I Rule the Runes, and then on the top,
Oh, sweet.
and that's a really cool Schecter guitar. You know, and there's a bunch being more built because the first batch sold out, so we have more coming in.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. I've seen them on the site.
Yeah, the one that's for sale is like that, but without a bridge and it's a bolt-on, which actually it looks exactly like the one. If you've seen pictures of the picture of Doro on my shoulders, that's out now. That's the guitar. It looks like it's that model guitar, but without the tremolo.
Okay.
And it has like a Tone Pros bridge, Graphtec machine heads, and Dunlop strap locks, and a lot of cool parts on it. It's a Schecter axe. So it's really cool. It's actually, you know, the guitars are built to shred. And that guitar, I played at Sweden Rock and Norway Rock. I played that guitar. And then Doro's like, hey, let's make something out of this. And next thing you know, boom. So more are being made right now by a great friend of mine in Arizona. So then they'll be for sale again.
That's awesome. So people can check that out on the
Doro's merch up, Doro merch. Now there's links on my page or Doro's page. Just go wherever Doro's merch in the United States is sold and you'll see it. And she's got links to it. And it's really cool. Yeah. And there's only a limited amount of these that are going to be made. So if you're a Triumphant Agony fan, it's definitely a cool thing to get.
Definitely. So speaking of Triumphant Agony and Warlock, was that the next big band you were in?
Yeah. That,
okay.
I'll give you that story. Let's see. I was in a band called Venus, like the planet. Want to make sure my accent doesn't mistake that. And my friend Willie was the singer. Who I'm still great friends with all those guys. At least Willie and Mark, who was the bass player, and Joey Bowen, who's the producer of Warlock. He did Triumphant Agony. He was producing the band, and he never seen me play. He's actually the one credited for discovering Steve Stevens, is what I've been told. And that's been put in print and all that. And technically, I guess he discovered me as far as putting me on the map, because he definitely did. He was a big fan of my playing. That's putting it, I guess, mildly, to be honest, and sound humble, but he loved the way I played. So turned out he started working with Doro. And he produced my band. We were trying to do something, you know, the band Venus. And subsequently, I remember suddenly my singer called me. Willie said, "Hey, Tommy, Joey Bowen wants you to call him at 1 o'clock. Call him at 1. I go, 1 in the morning? What? He goes, yeah, call him at 1. He goes, I go, all right, well, someone like Joey Bowen is already accomplished and established and a super cool dude. You know, so you get a message, hey, call Joey at 1 in the morning. You call Joey at 1 in the morning. You know, and he's a good guy. He's a total Italian Goomba, and I'm Italian. I can say that. You know, so so I call him up and at 1 in the morning. And I'll do a bad impersonation of his voice right now. He goes, I go, hey, Joey, it's Tommy. He goes, hey, Tommy, how you doing? Hey, what are you doing, guy? He goes, hey, I'm working with Doro Pesh. I want you to come down to the studio. I want you to bring all your equipment and come down here and rock out some stuff. I want you to play some tracks. I'll pay you. Don't worry about it. I'll get all your equipment moved. And I go, you want me to bring all my stuff? Because I had, like, at this point, because I worked in a music store and people would sell their stuff in there, I would get it at cost. So if someone bought it at a Marshall Head that they sold to the store for $150, $200, they go, Tommy, do you want this? I go, yes. Now they would just give it to me, and you know, I'd work it off or whatever the case, or I'd trade in some other junk I had. So I had at this point of my own used 6 stacks and like 20 some odd guitars. I mean, these weren't all mint guitars and all that, but I had all this, and they were stuff I played with. So he goes, bring everything. I go, you want me to bring everything? He goes, bring all your equipment. I go, okay, you know, and he goes, then, and here it is. Here's when I knew something was up. This is the money shot, as they say. And he goes, then he covers the phone under his breath. He goes, Tommy, this could be good for you. Really good for you. Now, when he broke out of his tone of voice and everything, I knew there was something else he was trying to tell me. And I took him serious. So I broke out the Rockman and played my guitar for like 2-3 hours and just shredded. Got my chops, you know, going nuts. So I go to the power station and I get there and I set all my equipment up. You know, it's in the back room. I got, you know, my amps, guitars, and I guess Doro walks in and sees me in the other room warming up, and I'm going bananas. When I play, I move, you know, and she's watching and I guess the selling point is, you know, turned out Joey had been talking about me for like a month or two to Doro. So I got this drug-free, crazy New York, he's nothing but guitar, and he's metal, and he shreds, and you got to see this kid, because, you know, back then I was playing upside down, backwards, I was doing all that junk. I was doing it then, you know. And there's videos of me doing that. You know, I used to lay the guitar. I actually used to lay the guitar on the floor like a piano and lay on my stomach and play the guitar. And there's videos of this me playing in clubs in Long Island, you know. But I was out of my mind, you know, but in a good way, you know. So the next thing you know, I'm in there shredding. I see Doro look at me. She was with her other manager. And, Doro, sweetest person in the world. Absolutely. So I come into the room. I meet Doro, I get introduced. And the songs he plays is East Meets West, Make Time for Love, and I think it was 3 Minute Warning. God, am I forgetting this? Huh. But I think it was 3 Minute Warning. Was it East Meets West, Make Time for Love? Oh, wow, I'm shooting myself in the foot here. Anyway, but so nonetheless, I do know 80% of the riffs I would just made up on the spot were asked, 85%, they said make them up on the album. Like all those little hooks and tattoos in the middle of East Meets West, I made all those up in my first take. Because Joey, when he would work with me, go, Tommy, give me something to eat, give me something bluesy, or pull this, or give me some of this, some of that. And he knew which way, and I just would lock in with him. And then at that point, Doro, her eyes are getting like bigger and bigger. She's really zoning in on, and the chemistry is starting. And she goes, and I'll do a bad impersonation voice. She goes, do you want to play on an album? And I go, sure. She goes, yeah. She starts clapping.
Oh, that's so sweet.
That's God's honest truth. And then, I still have these demos too, by the way. Then Joey, I go in the hallway. And he goes, Joey is doing his, his talent. He goes, hey, Tommy, you're making me proud. This is great. Exactly what I fucking want. You're going to Germany. You're doing the record. You're making me proud. This is Ace's kid. I go, all right, man, great. So I went back in, played some more, went home. He sent me home in like a limousine or a town car or whatever the hell they had. And all my gear came separate in a van. And then he calls me up and goes, Tommy, they love your playing. They love this, that. If Doro's ecstatic, this, that. He goes, they just played it for Louis Spielman, the president of Phonogram. He loves it, this, that. I'm like, great. Better than saying you sucked, I guess. And next thing I know, he calls me the next day, goes, hey, Tommy, come to Manhattan. I got a surprise for you. He goes, get fully dressed. So, get on the leathers, the jacket, the boots, do the 220-volt cut, stick my thing in the light socket and spray my hair up. And I had like the hair, like out the here.
That's extra Aquanet that day, huh?
Carolyn Richards was the cement. Carolyn Richards, Aquanet was good too, but Carolyn Richards was just absolute bulletproof.
See, I didn't know about this stuff.
Yeah.
Probably couldn't have afforded it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, $1 a can, just cake, turn your head to cement. But nonetheless, ready for any windstorm. So I go to Manhattan, I go up to this high-rise building, like it's like 88 some odd floors up. Walk into the manager's office, there's Joey, there's Doro. And the manager is there, and there's Joey, and they're all sitting down. And he goes, and the manager goes, hey, I hear great things about your playing. I've heard the tapes. You're playing this. You're playing that. I mean, they're paying me all these great comments. I'm like, well, thank you. And then he goes, well, and I wasn't exactly sure to expect this, to be honest. Suddenly they go, we want you to join Warlock. And I went, yes. and then Doro goes, starts clapping again, going, yes. And then he goes, all right, goes, by the way, goes, you have a passport? He goes, no. He goes, we'll get one. Goes, why? Because we're going to Germany soon. And by the way, then like, right at this, like, well, if you we want you to live in Manhattan. We're going to move you to Manhattan. We want this because we're recording the record. You need a town car, a limousine. You call these guys. Oh, and by the way, Doro's taking you shopping next week. She wants to get your own new clothes. I'm like, what the? Now, I'd always worked hard enough and sacrificed enough in my personal life to deserve this. I think honestly is
yeah.
That would sound stuck up. But
no, I mean, you worked for it. It's not like
I didn't just suddenly wake up and my father was rich and just called so and so or bought someone a trip to Harvard and said, hey, sign my kid's band. It wasn't. And I've heard those stories. Trust me, they exist. Money makes money. Period. But so next thing you know, it was Triumphant Agony time. And and then I remember they told me, by the way, you can't tell nobody for 2 weeks.
Oh.
I'm like, what? Because I guess they had some other business with the other members they hadn't sorted out. And
so they had to let other people down.
Yeah, there was other things going on, the way it was all overlapping or whatever. But that I mean, at that point, that's part of the business, and it is a business.
There had to be somebody that you told, like mom, dad.
Well, my parents knew. Yeah, okay. Of course. Also my brothers. And then then eventually, I had one last show with Venus to play, and of course I wore a Warlock T-shirt on it. And my singer was sitting about me on stage. He goes, so where you going, Tommy? I went, showed the shirt on stage, and yeah. And then my life became a whirlwind, yeah. And it was great. I mean, I this is what I'd always wanted, and then we went and toured Europe with Dio and played in America with Megadeth and played on our own headlining stuff. And the album went to 80 on Billboard, and All We Are was this. I think the album has sold like 6 some odd million worldwide at this point. And I did, all the guitars, like, the leads and the solos, that's all me. Even the majority of the rhythms, to be dead honest, were all mine mixed up in the mix. Mm-hmm. And as Doro's come out and said, even, and then, so Triumphant Agony. I mean, I've always been proud of Warlock, and and worked my ass off to do all that. I don't know what question you asked, but there's an answer.
There's an answer. So I have to ask you a question, which we haven't really talked about this ever. So I'm dying to know. One of my favorite videos. Do you remember the video magazines back in the day? They were on VHS tape. And they'd follow people around. There weren't a ton of them, but Doro was on one, and it was my favorite thing ever. And she was somewhere in LA, I think, and she went to like somebody's place that did stage clothes, and they were making this like really cool, I think it was like turquoise and all that. So I always like think of Doro when I think of stage clothes, because hers are like so phenomenal. So when you told me that story about how you got a call, said Doro wants to take you shopping.
Yeah.
I of course need to ask you about the shopping trip. Was it like Julia Roberts and Pretty Woman? Like, what was
it? Other than her saying we need more sucking up here, she'd have to go into that whole and like goes, not me, him, no, she took me like down at 8th Street in the Village. I remember she bought me a red leather vest, which I still have actually, like a motorcycle vest, which I still have that. She bought me a white leather jacket with fringes. She bought me leather pants, which I still have, which I've had taken and done so many times. Because we had all stage outfits done for us anyway by the same people doing White Snake and White Lion, this
cool.
girl named Fleur back in the day. So we had like 3 outfits or so each. And but yeah, she took me shopping. And she just blew a shitload of money and bought me a bunch of stuff. And it was like, wow. I know, of course, I was very thankful. But she liked they wanted to like just augment my my wardrobe. I mean, I had cool clothes and I had cooler clothes, I guess. Back in the day. But yeah, she took me shopping. It was a trip. I mean, I always got along great with Doro. I still do. I mean, it's like there's a great chemistry. That's why a lot of fans have picked up on that when they see us together and the way we work off each other on stage. I mean, she's got a great band. They're all great guys. I'll throw that in as well to make to speak of the obvious. But when I get with her, there's a certain energy. Like when the way I describe it is like this: when I play with her, it's like a magnetism. And the closer I get to her, the more we start playing off each other. And you can see this in videos and pictures. I start to magnetize towards her, and I start to play, and I start doing things I never. Okay, I'm gonna play this. Riffs come out of me I didn't even know, or improvisation, or it creates a move or a vibe or a feel, and it sends me into into situations. Just that's part of my energy you see on stage. It's me magnetizing off her. I mean, I've always been energetic and moved, but it just that was the magic of what I always thought Warlock and me and her were, and and the energy of the whole band. Just magnifies that even more. And then, then you throw in the songs are great. So I have a great time playing them, and she's got great staff, great management, all that. So it's a pleasure to work with her now, as it was then,
When did you start? Have you always had Doro up on your shoulders? Like, was that from the very beginning?
Back in the whole Triumphant Agony tour, I remember we were talking about this in England when we were rehearsing with Dio, because we lived in England for a month and rehearsed with Dio for a month. We were staying at a place called the Mary Jane or something like that, some bed and breakfast thing that I can still remember. I think I have, which I've never published. I took pictures of the entire tour, personal pictures.
Oh.
I have like rolls and rolls of printed out pictures of behind the scenes stuff and all that. But anyway, that's another story. So, but as far as the getting on my shoulders, we thought, let's try doing something great, something. We rehearsed it, and in this place, her getting on my shoulders, I would kneel down. And then she used to get on my shoulders, or no, she would get on the riser and then get on my shoulders. And I used to be able to kneel down. She would get off. Now I think we do it where she gets on my shoulders and then we just go to the riser. But on the Triumphant Agony tour, she got on my shoulders every night for the entire Dio tour, the entire Warlock Megadeth tour, and then when we did all the club headlining and theater headlinings. And I can always tell you, it was always the third song, and it was always Earthshaker Rock at the end.
Okay.
We would always open up with Cold Cold World, and then go into I Rule the Runes, and that's when after I Rule the Runes, I would take my jacket off after I Rule the Runes, and then I would just have my T-shirt, because if she got on my jacket, she'd get caught with all the fucking hardware.
Yeah.
But then she would always get on my shoulders. She would get on. She'd sing the part of our Earthshaker Rock, and then I would be turned sideways. And then she'd tilt back, I'd tilt forward, and then I'd turn around and walk into the front. And that was photographed to death, because in most situations, photographers only stay in the pit for 3 songs. So we purposely put it as the third song. Okay. And that was a great moment. The fans loved it. And then we did it at Sweden Rock, and that got snapped. And people put this beside the pictures, beside each other, like that. And, I mean, she, Doro's in great shape, and luckily I work out and stuff. But she's, I could probably bench press her. She weighs nothing,
Yeah, but she's kind of tiny, isn't she? She's like,
yeah, she's I guess the proper word is petite, I guess. But but anybody who's met her knows or seen her on stage. But
yeah,
she's in great shape. I mean, she sings like that, and she's got the endurance. She's got a voice like an air raid siren. I mean, I never saw her voice go out once on any of the shows we did. I mean, her voice is incredible, and her energy. And she feeds off the crowd. Talk about somebody who loves the fans. I've been asked that, goes, hey, Doro was nice to see him. I go, probably nicer, to be honest. She makes so much time for her fans. It's so giving because, after you do a show, she has interviews to do and this, that. The worst thing a singer can do is talk. But she wants to see the fans, meet the fans. And sometimes it's, you pay the price. There's no sleep or whatever. But her getting on my shoulders, I'm like 5'8" on a good day. So, I just put it right on and hold it up. The one thing I got to do is my guitar has to be moved up higher. So what you don't see is that I used to play my guitar higher back in the day. Now I play my guitar, pretty much it's almost about to hit the floor. So what you don't see, or if you really look quick, you'll see my tech come over and he'll move the guitar up slightly and he'll click it to a different strap button because it has to be that way to properly hold her. And if I want to play the guitar, because I play the guitar at the same time, she's on my shoulders. So there's some Warlock trivia for you.
I'm thinking that there had to be a lot of trust there the first time because you are so physical on stage. So how did she know you weren't going to go into a backflip?
Well, you hit the nail on the head. Trust. I mean, I'm out of my mind, but my insanity is applied for positive results. You know what I'm saying? So that's the biggest thing. Is obviously I got Doro. I can't start jumping around doing the pogo stick or going out of my mind, looking like I'm out of just coming unglued. So you got to keep your shit together. And she trusted me, and I never dropped her. And then knock on wood.
I know, right? You have to practice with something during COVID to make sure that you still get your Doro carrying skills together once you guys.
Well, if anything, to be dead honest, being back playing with Doro, and I've gotten heavily into working out more. I went down a complete size. I had to have all my stage outfits taken in by the guy who does my outfits is a guy named Al Bain for Leather.
Yes, his work is beautiful.
Yeah, he takes my clothes and he modifies them all, and he made something for Doro too, actually. And he's made stuff like everybody who's anybody. I mean, everybody. He's pretty much in that field very well known. And I came back from the tour, the first leg of it, and he goes, everything. I lost so much weight. I changed my diet a little. I started working out. Then I decided just during those COVID times, just if you talk about what I'm doing with COVID, I put a universal in my house. I got a treadmill. I got loose weights, and I'll do an hour at a time in the treadmill and go 4 miles on that in an hour, 5.5 miles an hour. For something that just going nuts. So I mean, I'm probably going nuts all lockdown and COVID anyway. But insanity happened years ago. Now it's how you apply it, I guess. Is the relative term. I mean, who wants to be sane anyway? It's overrated.
It's totally overrated. I agree.
It is. It's boring as hell.
So how many Warlock albums were there from the time you started to when?
There were 3 albums before me. There was Burning the Witches, Hellbound, True as Steel, which is the first time you might have heard of Warlock really in America because that was Polygram pushing it in America. And then I played on the 4th album, the last album of Warlock. I was the first American in the band. After that, so I'm really officially the last guitar player of Warlock. But I guess if you ask anybody in America what's the album they know of Warlock, they start singing All We Are. And
right.
The other albums are cool, no doubt about it. That is the album that, of course, put Warlock on the map in America and worldwide, which is why that backdrop is still, the most celebrated backdrop. And that album cover is iconic. And if even Decibel Magazine called it in the top 100, like 80, something like 80, like top album of all time. And a lot of people love it. I mean, I'm very happy for that. I'm really, glad because, you don't realize the time what you're creating, And I had other opportunities. The weird part, I don't hear the story. I don't think I ever told you. I got to drink some water for this one. I had a chance. I had a chance right now. I just started playing with Warlock. I was living in Manhattan. I don't think I told you this story. And I've told this before on the radio. I think maybe, I don't know who's picked it up, but this is an interesting story. I was friends with Bob Daisley from Ozzy. Mm-hmm. I had met him. I had heard he needed a guitar player. This is back when I was in armed forces. And I heard late night show. He left Ozzy and he needed a guitar player. So I called all over the place to find him. And I got a message in England. And suddenly, after calling companies and management, this is how diligent I was to track this guy down because he needs a guitar player. Hey, I'm a guitar player. So suddenly I remember I was at work teaching guitar. My mother calls back, goes, the guy from England called. The guy from England called. My mother's freaking out. So I called Bob Daisley. Next thing you know, I became friends with him, and then subsequently we never got to jam, but we did remain friends. And, I mean, we were always talking and this and that. Even when I came to Los Angeles, he put me in touch with a guy named Gavin Menzies, who's unfortunately since passed away, a good friend of mine. He actually teched for like Prince and Steve Stevens and the Cult and Howard Leese of Heart. We actually borrowed Howard Leese's Heart Marshall to jam with Jamie and Freight Train Jane, the band I started with, guy from Black and Blue. Now I'm all over the place. But anyway, back to the other story. This story just keeps splintering out. I remember I was sitting there, and you'll appreciate this because this involves my parents too. My father and my mother weighed in on this. Suddenly, I was friends with Bob Daisley through, just talking to him all the time, and he knew me, and he knew I was, crazy New Yorker who played. Suddenly, Ozzy's in Manhattan on a radio station going, and he just let go of Jakey Lee for not playing. He goes, I want an East Coast guitar player. I don't want any more of these West. He was going on and on how he wanted a guitar player, a new guitar player. He wanted East Coast. This is right when Zakk Wylde was stepping out. Of course, Zakk is Zakk Wylde, and we came from the same school of people we like play. I guess we definitely on that same East Coast type shred type thing. And of course, I'm not, he's Zakk Wylde. So there you go. So nonetheless, I'm who I am. So, but nonetheless, I remember all of a sudden all my friends go, call Bob, go jam with Ozzy, call Ozzy. I go, and I remember when the manager of Warlock said to me, when I said yes, he goes, now Tommy, I'm doing a bad impersonation of his voice. He goes, Tommy, now I don't got a contract with you, so I hope I don't hear of you playing with Whitesnake next week. I remember him saying that to me. And it's like God's honest truth. And I'm like, I said, dude, I'm here for Joey Bound, and I love Doro, and I love this music. So I'm a very loyal person, both in my personal life, friends' life, and relationships and all that. That's another story. But anyway, so I'm living in Manhattan. Warlock has now got me set up in Manhattan. I'm recording the album. I'm getting ready to record the album. We're rehearsing it. And suddenly, I literally could have called Bob Daisley and said, hey, can you get me an audition? And I would say confidence is high. I would have got one. And I had all my friends who knew I knew Bob Daisley blowing my phone up. I had one friend of mine, my old bass player of the band Venus, going, look, I'll bring the demo tapes around. No one's got to know. You bring it on. I'll make the phone calls. He's telling me, call Ozzy, call Ozzy. I'm like, now Ozzy, none of these guys know any of this shit. Of course, they're doing the thing. And I did tell this story to Doro, and I'm sitting there going, it's not my style to do that. Joey Bound believes me so much. Doro is believing me so much because she came out in a metal magazine, Metal Hammer, said, Tommy Bolan is somebody I really need right now. He makes me sing and play better. That's a quote. I'm like, and then of course everyone goes, well, who the fuck's this guy Bolan? I mean, like I'm unknown, and there's Doro saying this about me. And I remember it. I was sitting there, obviously, I gave it its due measure because I had everybody blowing my phone up, from my brothers to, everybody going, it was Ozzy. And my mother goes, what are you going to do, Tom? And I go, well, my goes, your father says stay with Warlock. It's the sure thing. I said, my heart's in Warlock, and that's where I'm going to stay.
That's amazing.
And subsequently, Triumphant Agony was born.
Right.
But so I never made a phone call,
You never made it, yeah. All those friends, though, they were rooting for you.
Then he went with Zakk Wylde, and would I mean, you always think the what ifs. I mean, but I'm not. I don't regret for 1 second the decision, because I am beyond proud of what I've done with Warlock and the for lack of a better word, the trajectory it's put me on.
Yeah.
So
Warlock did eventually end, and I don't know that I've ever understood why, but I know that we went from Warlock to albums, with Doro's name on them.
At that point, the best way to describe it, there was too many cooks in the kitchen. I mean, you had the producer saying this, manager saying that, label saying that. Then she lost the use of the name.
Okay.
She lost the use of the name because the other manager literally stole it from her. And
so
she just got it back.
It wasn't prior members of the band, it was the manager?
Well, there was some influx with that, but mostly it was the manager.
Okay.
And she sued to get it back, and she lost. Mm-hmm. And then she just now recently got it back, which is why you see us playing behind the Warlock banner now.
Right.
Which and that also subsequently means that if you see the Warlock banner, that means I'm definitely there. Mm-hmm. And and we're playing the Triumphant Agony album in its entirety, because Triumphant Agony was never played in its entirety. We never played during the Warlock era, and even during her solo point, she never played Kiss of Death or Make Time for Love. Those are never played. And those are known songs off the record. And even Cold World got faded out from a set, and other songs faded away. So when we played Sweden Rock, that was the first time Kiss of Death was ever played, Make Time for Love was ever played. And as Doro has mentioned, Triumphant Agony Live is coming out. It's going to be mixed with the DVD and all that, featuring some of these performances. Right now, she's got a greatest rare cuts and ballads coming out, which I think I'm on some live track of that. Then
one with
album.
I think she has like a perfume coming out with it. There's some.
Got that? Yeah. She's you know, full, she got wine, perfume, sunglasses. She's fully merched, which is the way to do it, because, you know, I mean, it's just, you know, if there's a demand for it and the fans dig it and it's done right, where, you know.
Yeah. As a fan, you want it. You know, you want that stuff. You want to be able to like celebrate your favorite album and your favorite.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of it. I mean, I got, like, you know, you can see this.
Actually, you have to move it over a little. There you go.
That's my guitar.
Those are so cool.
The other side.
Let me see. Very nice. I love it.
The Dunlops I use. And you know what the funny part is? I never had a signature pick during the days of Triumphant Agony. I used to use Gibson Medium. So people would ask me for picks. I go, huh? I said Gibson pick. But now when I came back to the fold here, I said I got to get some picks. And then the people at Dunlop were able to do that, and that's a really cool pick, because, you know, and I use a big triangle pick because I pick like a trap door.
Oh, okay.
But there's a history lesson. Again, cool. I think you asked me a question. I just took it someplace
else.
No,
but that is one of my favorite picks I've ever seen.
Well, like I said, I'm going to send you a bunch of stuff to give away to your.
Yay! Thank you. I'm excited for that. Everybody keep their eye out for that pick and a couple of other really fun things. So Warlock, you know, technically Warlock under the Warlock name ended, and then Doro continued.
Doro, of course, went on to do a whole bunch of great albums, and she, you know, but at that point it was all solo. So the next guitar player in, whoever that, you know, I had left at that point. So then at that point, you know, there was no more Warlock at all. So anybody who says they were in Warlock wasn't, you know, technically they were in Doro, because that was the last version of Warlock, the most well-known. And now you have, like, you know, the guy who played bass, Tommy Henriksen, he's playing with Hollywood Vampires, and Alex Cooper, and you know, the drummer and the guitar player. I think the other guys, they're just in Germany at the moment. I know Michael had done a couple of things, but I don't know. I think Nico, he might have had a heart attack, I heard. I'm not even sure. And of course, Doro just kept going, and I never, you know, stopped. And that's why when she brought me back for Triumphant Agony, I mean, I had done all the guitars on the record, so all the, you know, the sounds, the solos, and then they brought all my rhythms up in the mix, which I can, you know, which has been made public now. Cool. And so really, you know, when you change a guitar player of a band, you change the sound of the band. You know, I mean, you just like changing the engine of a car. It's just going to perform differently. You listen to Triumphant Agony versus True as Steel, both totally different albums. You know, I mean. So that's kind of where it's at, you know. But
So when you guys play under the Warlock name, we're definitely going to see you. And then
sometimes with the Warlock name, I'm definitely there. I mean, like a lot of times when she tours under the, you know, when she goes out Doro, I'll come in like the special guest, or sometimes I'm doing the whole show, depending on how it's coordinated. So there's a good chance you'll see a lot of me, you know, I guess whether you want to or not.
Like in the States especially?
States for sure, yeah. I'm always in any of the States shows, the cruises, Monster Rock, all that stuff. I'll come in like the special guest, whatever. And in one case, I remember I played a Summerfest show because I think Boss, the other guitar player, his brother was getting married that day. So I did the whole show as opposed to coming out. Like sometimes she'll start the show and she'll introduce me and I'll come out like the third or fourth song, special guest. And of course, the fans know Triumphant Agony. Then I'll play the rest of the set with them. And then it's like, you know, all version of Leonard Skinner, 3 guitar players on stage. Because then the other guitar player, you know, he's really a great keyboard player too. So he'll play keyboards and stuff. Even Nick Douglas, the bass player, who's been with her forever, and he's a great guy. These are all, you know, cool people. He'll play keyboards on Fiorema, so, you know, it's you know, there's a lot of people doing stuff, and Johnny D's been with her, and of course he goes back to, you know, Brittany Fox, Wasted, all that. She got a great, you know, she got a great band, great people, and it's, you know, it's fun to hang out with them too, you know.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite song from Warlock? Like let's say you're a special guest, maybe not from Warlock, but in general, let's say if you're a special guest on stage under the Doro moniker, is there like a song where you're like, can I do that one? Like this, it's like
well, usually I'll always. I mean, I guess the best way to answer the question is my favorite song to play live, a lot of times, is I Rule the Runes. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The energy of that, it's an intense song to play live, and of course, All We Are is always great to play. You know, Cold War. I mean, I love the whole record, so I guess this answer is like everything, anything, everything. You know, even just go up there and play. You know, friggin', you know, if Doro sings the phone book, it'd be entertaining to play alongside it. You know, so
that's true.
But I Rule the Runes, I guess, definitely is a high energy song that, you know, has a lot of memories to me. You know, I remember that a lot.
That's my personal favorite. That's my.
Have you ever seen pictures live? From back in the day, as it were, when you see Doro crawling between my legs, that was during I Rule the Runes. She used to do that. And in Cold Cold World, I used to during the very end, like the guitar goes and I hit that I hit that tremolo trick. I used to sometimes rub my guitar on a leg or various parts of a body. I would rub my guitar, which just for effect. So that's we're always interacting, I guess. So any song is always fun to play.
Yeah, that's cool. What did you do once Warlock was no longer? What was your next gig after that?
Let's see. I came out to Los Angeles, believe it or not. I almost wound up in Dio.
Oh.
I was the second choice after I came out. Ronnie, I remember I guess Craig Goldie had left the band or whatever, and I got hold of Ronnie and I called him up, and I was playing the NAMM show. He came down to the NAMM show to watch me play. He sent his gear, his crew to pick up my gear at the NAMM show, and I went and jammed with him. And I remember I got to the jam session early. He goes, Tommy, why don't you go wait around the block of the bar? There's like 5 or 6 guys waiting in the room. I go, all right, sure. I got there early. So next thing I know, the whole band comes into the bar. I'm like, and they're like, hey, Tommy, how you doing? I go, hey, don't you got a bunch of other guys waiting? He goes, oh yeah, fuck them, don't worry about it. Literally, that's what he said. And I'm like, they wanted to hang out with me, and we hung out, and they were all great guys. And then we went back there and we jammed, Holy Diver, Rainbow and the Dog, stand up and shout. So it was surreal. I mean, I'd gotten to know Ronnie. He's from Syracuse, New York, because we had played, we just did 2 months touring with him. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly I remember it was getting, then I went home. I lived in New York at the time. And he had gone through 3,000 tapes, so it was down to me. And he said, this is one of the guys they want to, Jimmy wants to bring from Ireland. I'm like, who? He goes, oh, this kid Rowan or whatever. I said, all right. Say, hey, I could be right out there again. Come back. He goes, all right. And Rowan's a fine player. Obviously, I'll point that out. And then he goes, Tommy, I'll know Friday. We got to jam with this kid. So I call him Friday. I would talk to Ronnie every other day for like 45 minutes, an hour, and this and that. And next thing I know, he goes, I call him on. It's Friday. I'm jonesing. I'm losing my mind here. And he goes, Tommy, it's still too close. We don't know yet. And I go. So I'm like losing because it's down to me and him. That's what he's telling. This is Ronnie telling me this. So I'm like, like it's scratching the lottery ticket, waiting for the last number to friggin' come out. And then next day he calls me, he goes, Tommy, we're going with the other guy, but here's why. He goes, Rainbow, Dio, and Sabbath. Obviously because he could play, of course, I could play too. But he goes, Rainbow, Dio, and Sabbath had European and American members in it, and that gave it what I call an international flair, appeal. And he wanted, and Rowan was from Ireland, So subsequently, he goes, Tommy, I've gone through 3,000 tapes. Because this is the only reason, because this is the reason why. And, so obviously, it was, I was not happy, but, I respected it. And to lose it for that reason, I guess I can accept, But then, interesting enough, I'll never forget my phone rings at home in New York. And I go, who's this? He goes, I'm the manager of some band on Capitol. I think it was Icon or something. And which is a band back then. He goes, I go, how'd you get my number? He goes, well, I called Ronnie Dio and I said, who's the first guy you didn't choose and why? And this again, I'm not making this up. He goes, the guy you want is Tommy Bolan, hands down. This is Dio saying this about me to this guy. And then my phone rang a couple other times with other people, and nothing panned out from that. But I'm like, wow, Dio's saying this to me. I'm like, wow, that's cool. And I mean, another time that ties in, because I'm always myself. I just go out there. I'm honest. I play. I do what I do. And I remember one time we were in, this is when Warlock was on tour. We had a day off in England. We went and saw that band Val Wow in that Japanese band, which had Neil Murray from Whitesnake playing with them. And I remember we're backstage, and as his knowledge now, Cozy Powell played on Triumphant Agony. He played, Touch of Evil, I Rule the Rooms. That's him playing. And because our manager managed Emerson and Powell, and Cozy came down to play on the album, and phenomenal drummer, of course. And I remember we were backstage. So I obviously met Cozy. I played with him. He played the record. We jammed together. And suddenly, and I remember the whole band Warlock's there except for Doro. And you can't make this shit up. And again, I'm just throwing stories. Or I feel like I'm dropping names all over the floor. I should be picking this shit up. And suddenly Neil Murray. And this is, remember, I'm new to I'm glad where I'm at. I mean, like, wow, this is, I'm like, I'm on tour. This is great. And suddenly Neil Murray goes, which one of you is Tommy Bolan? And I go, me, do I owe you money? Because the way he said it freaked me out. And he goes, no, I hear great things about you from Cozy. I hear you're really great. And I go, what? Cozy Powell's talking about me? And freaked me out. So I'm like, wow, that was a trip to hear that. And the band looks at me like, did you pay this guy to say that? And they were like, just looking at that. And then it was just a trip. It was surreal. Just another story that always stuck out in my head. Now I got a light coming in my window.
You
so
do, you do. I think if you sit back, it might not be in your. There you are. All right, you're good.
like,
all right, so after Warlock, you were.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I started doing
Okay,
Singer
you
from Black.
had a few bands, right? Was N.Y.C. one of the first big ones?
No. N.Y.C. is the most last. The most band I got known for after that is, believe it or not, I came out here to jam with Megadeth.
Oh, cool.
I called Dave Mustaine up when Jeff Young had left the band. And I remember I was talking to Dave at Christmas time back in New York, and he goes, I'm sitting there talking. I remember he goes, I said, Dave, why don't we get together and jam? And Dave said, you mean you want to audition, Tommy? That's exactly what he said. I go, yeah, let's jam. Because the Dio thing fell through. So I came out here, was set up by Andy Summers, who's now like a senior VP at the agency group, was doing them back then. And I talked to Junior, did Dave Ellefson, learned what songs I needed to learn. Flew out here, came out here, and I've since mentioned this to Dave a couple times when I've seen him. And obviously, they were going through a lot back then, as you know, as it's been documented. And they're all got their, they're all organized now, and I'm happy for them. They're all healthy. Yeah. But back then, let's say they weren't in the best state of mind. Let's just say, for whatever reason, And I showed up, and they never did.
Oh, okay.
They just didn't show up, and Dave doesn't remember this, but Junior remembers it. But I don't make a big deal about it because obviously, given light of all, I think 360 of everything that was going on in their lives. Yeah. And but what happened was I called my friend Gavin Menzies, who and I said I wanted to get my idea was to get my tape to Gene Simmons because I knew Jamie. I called Gavin and said, Jamie St. James? He goes, yeah. He goes, because I knew Jamie St. James. His last two albums were produced by Gene Simmons of Kiss, of course. And I figured, well, this guy's got to have a direct line. Plus Simmons, they were on Polygram. I figured, well, at this point, I'm in Los Angeles. I might as well try to start sending whoever listened to me, And I paid all this money on my own dime to come out there. Right. And then literally Gavin calls Jamie, and the exact moment he calls him, he goes, I got this guitar player, Tommy. He goes, wait, you got a guitar player? He goes, yeah. He goes, I was just about to start calling guitar players. I'm trying to put a band together. So the next thing you know, he goes, forget it. I got the kid you want. So I talked to Jamie, met Jamie, and I came out I jammed with him on a Friday, then jammed with him on a Sunday, caught a flight home, and we were talking all the time. We actually had chemistry. The bass player was Scotty Werner, who was in the original version of Hurricane Alice. And I forget who played drums during these sessions, because we didn't have Davy Jones, and then we later got, Chaz, who Skip Tease was his stage name then, who's actually became the drummer of N.Y.C, is actually my best friend. And then I remember talking to Jamie, he goes, I was asking all these questions, and he goes, I got a question for you. I go, 2 weeks. He goes, what do you mean? I go, either I'm moving to Los Angeles in 2 weeks to do this or not. Then we came out, Freight Train Jane started. We had an album out in Toshiba EMI, Alpha Brunette in Japan. At one point, we had Barbara Streisand as manager. We had Tom Werman, who did Shout the Devil to produce us. And we had David Rudick and Owen Sloan, all these big attorneys. David Rudick just did that big, ridiculous, over-the-top $35+ million deal for Motley. And we were the best unsigned band in the nation, chosen by ASCAP, getting all garbage bags full of fame, all this stuff. And you can still hear the album Freight Train Jane, Hallucination, is on YouTube and other places, or you can find it on eBay, I think. And it got re-released once by some other company, but nonetheless, that should have been huge. And I could sit here and burn another hour on stories on that. Yeah. But then after that, Freight Train Jane, I decided to start my own. I started some other bands here and there, some other projects. They didn't pan out. Then at one point, I got tired of flaky singers. I said, you know what, give me the friggin' mic. I'm going to sing. And I started singing. That's why I have the band N.Y.C, which I sing. I started, and then I brought in my now best friend Chaz, and we started doing more of it. And, I did actually, Tommy Hendrickson mixed that album for me, which nobody, because it says XT. He didn't put his name on it, the clown. Oh, okay. I say that as a compliment to him because he's my boy, as they say, so I can call him that. But he's gonna kill me. But but he didn't want his name on it, so I put his name. So he put down his XT. But he mixed it. He's the one who mixed it, and he made it sound, gave it a good sound and all that. And because I'm the one who got him into Warlock as well, by the way. That's another story in itself. Because they were looking for a bass player, and I said, well, I know this guy, Yeah. And I recommended him, and then they pushed him through after I kept talking about him. But yeah, so then N.Y.C, that still exists. And for a while, I played with Richie Ramone. I did his comeback album. He was the drummer of the Ramones, of course. I did his album Untitled. And that's how I met another best friend of mine named Jiro Okabe, who's the bass player. He has his own punk band called Jiro, which I wrote a lot of lyrics for and some of the melodies for. he does a lot of touring with CJ Ramon. But we did Richie's album called Entitled. We did touring in Japan. We actually played at ANZ Stadium where they had the Olympics in 2000. We played with Aerosmith and Van Halen. It was, and then we toured South America, and because the Ramones in South America are like a religion. So we did that record. I stayed with that for a while. Then I always got N.Y.C going, and then I had a side project called Bonsai, which is with Jiro Okabe. We both sing. We both, it's like kind of like punk, metal, shred, melody. I can't even describe it, but it's fun, over the top shit. And we actually had Christopher Williams from Accept play the majority of the album, the drummer. And we were supposed to do some touring, but then that got delayed for various reasons. And on the personal frontier, we didn't get to go to England like we were gonna. And then Doro called, and I still have the message on my machine. When she said, "Call me, I have an idea." And then of course I got back into playing, and then we were doing the anniversary tour. Then she said, "Hey, why don't we book a tour in America?" And that sold out quick. And then there was a chemistry. Then I played the guitar and all for metal, and then I played guitar and Turn It Up on the last album. And then actually it's me singing at the end too, the chorus with her, Turn It Up Louder. She liked my voice. And then next thing I know, I wrote the song with her called If I Can't Have You, No One Will, which she did the duet with Ioannis from Amon Amarth. So yeah, I guess that's in a nutshell all the nonsense I've been up to, I guess.
That's amazing. And so N.Y.C and Bonsai is still active. It's just COVID.
Yeah, N.Y.C, I'm actually been waiting to finish the new record. I have a ton of ideas. And I have a lot of people now, especially now, obviously being back playing with Doro and Warlock, it opens more doors, no doubt about it. And there's more people want to hear it. And, so I just got to finish that. And then I'll go out and I front that band. I'm the singer. I sing in that.
I know you are. And I love that album. I especially love the first track. Like, I'm obsessed with that. I've been listening to it a lot.
Well, if you go to tommybolan.com, you can hear a whole bunch of them, and you can download one for free and all that,
Yeah, my favorite song is the one you can download. So everybody should definitely.
Yeah, that's a great song to play live. I mean, there's, that band, that's another six-pack in a piece. I can tell you the stories, how close we came, how much blood, and how much me and my drummer just killed ourselves. And we kept having a revolving door of bass players, which was an issue in many ways. Because actually on that record, I played bass, except for one song, And my drummer was great. He was like a machine, like a metronome. And he would play and trigger samples and intros in real time. He's like an octopus. I mean, and sing. I mean, the kid could do it all, And like I said, now he's, doing other things, but, So I got to finish the record, and then I'll, subsequently tour and all that stuff. And, I actually just kept busy. I sang the guy from N.Y.C, Chris Holmes, a friend of mine. He had a song called Playing with Fire. I just sang a verse and a chorus on that. And he had the guy from Grim Reaper sing on it, Steve, and then I had some other guys sing on it. I did that. And, I've been using all I'm a big endorser with Tascam, and I have all their Tascam recorders, which are great. And even on Forever Warriors, Forever United, the tracks of me playing were recorded on my Tascam units, digitally sent. And that's why, and here's the perfect segue of promotion. You didn't see this coming. November, Tascam is doing a giant giveaway with me. And also Cali Audio, who make my powered monitors. We're giving away this Morley Wah as well, one of these. We're giving away a box of Apex strings, which is a great string I endorse, which is actually Jeff Landtroop's company, who invented the technology for Blue Steel and Helix. If you ever heard of Dean Markley strings, he basically invented their best sets. And we're also giving away cord locks, which are the cable wraps I use, which have the Tascam logo on it. And Using Kettner's giving me a red box to give away. So it's a lot of gear. And, Tascam will be giving away, I think a 12-track, the new Model 12, which is a great unit, and I think headphones. And they'll be promoting the hell out of it. So that'll be in November, probably around the time this is actually playing.
Probably, yeah. So they definitely go to your Instagram, I think, right?
Yeah, my Instagram. I'm always like Tommy Bolan Official, in my Instagram, and also for my Facebook. I think I'm just Tommy Bolan on Twitter, but you can find all those links. I mean, if you Google me, you get, hundreds of ugly pictures of me will show up and all that.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have a little Tommy Bolan tab on metalnet.com.
I'm gonna send you the N.Y.C CD giveaway. I got some other stuff I'm gonna send you. No problem.
That'll be awesome. So I have one question, and you touched on this kind of in two different ways in some of the stories that you were telling. One is that, that one of the selling points for you when you were being introduced to Doro was that, like, you're not into drugs and you're not into that thing. And I'm pretty sure that Doro's, like, that's kind of important to Doro.
Yeah, that was very important because she realized I was a drug-free, just crazy New Yorker. My whole commitment was to my instrument. That impressed her. That's another reason why Joey said, bring all my guitars. He goes, look, this is a kid just, living in his mom's house. This guy's, look how much he puts all his blood into his equipment, his guitars, his craft. This guy does nothing but live, eat, and breathe the guitar, which is true. It was obviously it still is in many ways. Of course, now the game of life has kicked in, and you got other responsibilities that kick in. But back then, living in mom's basement, it was, I lived in my room upstairs. My gear was in the basement, I should say. But, it was great. We play all day, and my mother screamed out, "Hey, you want a cheeseburger?" "Yeah, sure, man." Just go back to shredding. Gas bill, electric bill, phone. What do you mean, bills? What? I don't know any bills. What are you talking about? I knew they existed, but now I see them. Yeah. Holy shit. But, Doro dug the fact when she saw how committed I was to it, and the fact that, like I said, I've never done it, hit of a joint, hit of a, nothing, But, I like to have a good drink every now and then. Of course, I've had my moments as a, falling down drunk or whatever. Everyone has. But in the same sense, it doesn't command my life, by any means. And, I enjoy, I enjoy being happy. I like to laugh. The first thing I wanted to be was a race car driver when I was a kid. And then I wanted to be a comedian. I was a comedian all through high school. I told jokes and get up and do my best impersonation of Bugs Bunny, in grammar school to 8th grade. And then I found the guitar, and then it just became naturally out of my mind, Yeah.
So on the other side of that, being somebody who maybe enjoys a drink every now and then, but isn't living that life, has that been difficult as a musician, especially in the metal scene where there have been people who were really kind of locked into that scene? Has that ever made it challenging for you?
Challenging? No, I never felt the urge. I never felt the temptation. I don't like cigarettes personally, and I have no desire. I saw enough friends of mine get blanked out on it. You know what I'm saying? Friends as in people I knew or associates. And I've seen, everybody do every kind of drug there is, I suppose, in the industry I'm in. It's just, you're backstage, you're going, wherever you're going, you just, it was popular parties and all that. But I never felt peer pressure of any sort or the temptation of it. Never once did I desire it or need that.
But did it make it challenging for you to work with them if they were, like you said, that
as long as they're cohesive and coherent and they got their shit together, I can work with. I have a line from one of my songs called "Dinner with the Devil at Arm's Length." Mm-hmm. I can deal with anybody. I'm a professional, So as long as personally, obviously, as it comes more into my control, like let's say my band N.Y.C. or whatever, obviously I ain't gonna tolerate anybody being drunk or out of their fucking mind who's gonna delay the game. You know what I'm saying? I can't have it. I've dealt with people in that scenario, you got to 86 that problem. But when you walk in other scenarios where it's not your kitchen to cook in, so to speak, you tolerate what's there as long as it doesn't, rub your rhubarb the wrong way. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If you know what I'm saying. Yeah. Using the Joker line there, never rub man's rhubarb.
All right, and my last question for you is if either a younger musician or a newer musician, somebody who hasn't established yet, approached you for advice, what is like the one thing you would tell them about a career in metal?
Stay in school. Become a lawyer. There's no money in music anymore. No, honestly, I guess, the biggest thing is I used to do guitar clinics all the time. I still do. I get asked that question a lot, what's the best advice? The biggest thing I would tell when you're first starting out playing is jam with everybody who'll jam with you. Mm-hmm. That's the best way to make connections, meet people, and make musicians your friends. Don't make your friends musicians. And I remember my early bands, my best friend became a guitar player. Then I excelled quicker, and then he started to try to play drums, and he just couldn't cut it. And then I had to kick him out of the band because it was just terrible. And then subsequently the friendship died. Mm-hmm. So you want to find people who are musician quality and then make them your friends, not the other way around. That's one sidebar. But jamming with everybody, you learn. Because back then I was a sponge. I'd hear anything, I'd start playing it, make a mess of it, and just start doing stuff. Then at that point, once you make the connections, try to, obviously, you check every connection you can in town. If you got a friend who said they knew somebody who knew something, you run it down. I knew some various people who, knew other people. I always, whoever, whatever angle you can do to, save money or whatever, to, buy more guitar equipment or whatever. But I guess, is stay real to yourself. Like the last post I had, many people talk the talk, few walk the walk. Always stay true to yourself. Don't get in a situation where you got to change yourself so much. You can be a chameleon to a point, because obviously, the industry is what it is, and it also depends on what situation you're talking about. As long as you don't compromise yourself and you're moving forward, step sideways or up. Don't step backwards.
Mm-hmm. So basically, stay true to yourself and surround yourself by other
Yeah, always try to surround people. Yeah, that's the best. That's true. I guess in almost any profession. But yeah, that'd be the best thing I could say. Obviously, and practice and play the music you want to play. And very important. This is probably more of a thing I'd say. Remember, It's a business. It absolutely is. It isn't just, sex, drugs, rock and roll, and all the stereotypical like Fast Times at Ridgemont High maniac shit. It isn't that. It is a business, and treat it like a business, and as soon as you realize that and learn how, where the money goes, how the money gets distributed, what happens, learn the business behind on stage it's great, but there's a machine the size of friggin' a mountain behind it that happens. When you see a band, there's been at least 5,000 phone calls and 5,000 headaches to get this show off the road, figuratively speaking. So very much learn the business. That's probably the best thing I could say is staying true to yourself. It is a business, learn the business, and then you learn about, endorsements and stuff like that, how, gigs make it paid. And then you start learning, then you start accepting, okay, I know I'm not going to make money doing this. I'm not make money doing that, or this is worth it for the connection. This is not worth it, or this is a waste of my time, or blah, blah. Because there are so many people out there who are just ready to rip you off, period. There's a lot of people just need, as they say in New York, drop a building on them, or, go blow up in a fucking grain silo, That's the way I'm East Coast that way. You mess with me, I'll run you over. Simple as that. I mean, I'm the nicest guy, and I'm loyal and all that, but you get on my, you cross me, I'll just.
You're very East Coast. Yeah.
I am Italian Irish
I
to a yes, but in the same sense, I'm the guy who'll go the distance for you. Right. A lot of people, and that's true in business and personal relationship. You find out, you find out the real quality of people as time goes on. Some people, when you get to a crossroads, whether it be business or relationship, they're willing to, there's a problem that comes up, they either do the work or they throw it away. And I've seen people throw great things away because they're on some trajectory to somewhere, or they think they are, or don't know, or just there's too many things coming in. And then that's how sometimes bands implode, relationships implode, because no one steps back and goes, wait a second, this is worth fixing, or this is not worth fixing, for whatever reasons, and because, loyalty, commitment to, whether it be friendship or your friends, it's very hard, to find, people of quality. I mean, I live in Los Angeles, now, and this is like, me, myself, and I club, this is like, being in East, I go out there, I'm just honest in me, whether it be business, whatever, and it's amazing some of the students I've ran into, it's Italian student, just forget about it. Now you got me on a whole other subject. Not there, I need a glass of wine.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I always enjoy talking to you. And thank you for sharing your career, your advice, and all that. And I'll have to have you on again because story time with Tommy is the most fun.